Here we go. Tituss, you had, I think, the breakout role of the season on TV this year on Unbreakable, Kimmy Schmidt. Just tell us about what the reaction has been now that people have seen all of those episodes.
It's been wonderful. It's been warm, varied in terms of which phrases people shout out at me at any given day on the street. But it's been a whirlwind. You know, one could have only hoped for such a reaction, but I never dreamed or expected it would be in this way, in the way that it has become. So it's been lovely.
Now, you knew Tina Fey and Robert Carlock from a handful of times you worked with them on 30 Rock. Back then, did they say something like, we hope to work with you full time one day, or how did the project come to you?
Oh, no. I mean, in fact, the answer is no. That is not what happened. We had a lovely time. They are very thorough writers, and there was only a few times that Tina and I, when I was in the makeup chair, would giggle about musical theater and such. But you know, I don't think she was, you know, sort of circulating this project in her head. And Robert and I, you know, only really spoke when there were notes to be given. So I had no idea that this was gonna happen, and there was no tip-off or anything like that. I got a call from my manager and an email, and it said, when was the last time you spoke to Tina Fey? And I said, oh, it's been a couple of years now since the last time we spoke was when I finished 30 Rock. And she said, well, either you're about to get a job or this is a cruel joke. So you know, and of course the rest is sort of history, but I had no idea.
This character is wildly diverse. I mean, you get some over-the-top stuff, but you also have a lot of
diverse or perverse.
Diverse.
Okay.
Well, maybe a little of the other two, but we haven't seen that side as much yet. But what I was going to say is, I mean, you have some wildly over-the-top stuff, but then you've got some really emotional stuff along the way too. So a nice range.
It is a nice range, and we were all in agreement that, you know, in order for a character this expressive and flowery to work, we had to show just much, if not more, of his emotional side than just the fun stuff. Otherwise, people would write it off and not take it seriously. And we wanted to create a world that real people lived in who found themselves in extreme situations. And I think that is part of the reason why this has worked out so well, and that all the characters are three-dimensional and not just, you know, cartoons. You know what I mean? So yeah, I got to do a lot of things that ran the scope of the emotional rainbow. You know.
All four of the main characters, the ones in the regular credits between you and Carol and Jane and Ellie, you've got baggage. I mean, you've all, in fact, I think really all four of you, as the season starts, are sort of closed off a little bit, closed off emotionally by the things that have happened to you in life.
Absolutely. You know, I always giggle about this. People always say that Tituss is the most outlandish, and I disagree wholeheartly. I think I said that Lillian is a freaking criminal, you know, and she's just walking the streets and selling drugs, and she murdered her husband, and just like, you know, just all sorts of crazy things. So, you know, Tituss is probably the least threatening of them all. But everyone is closed off and in their own bunkers, if you will, not to, borrow from the show, but everyone has a particular thing that is holding them back from living a more fully realized life. So it's interesting to watch as the season progresses how they are sort of forced into the emotional arms of each other, and how they need each other, and how it gets so inextricably tied that you couldn't imagine them not being friends. You know what I mean?
They're all taking, well, maybe not Lillian so much, but they're all taking baby steps, or even sometimes bigger steps toward better lives.
Yes, indeed.
Speaking of New York, when I had Ellie on last week, and we talked about the unique nature of when you have those outdoor shoots in New York. She said when they're in California, people will stop and be polite, but New York, they don't care if you're shooting or not.
No, they don't care. If you are shooting and they need to get in their house, you might as well call cut and let them in, because either they're going to be in your TV show or you're going to have to shut that scene down. People don't care, and it's part of the fabric of the personality of this city, and it is definitely one of the challenges that you face when you are deciding to do an outside shoot. And if in all honesty, I can't much blame them. I mean, there's so many inconveniences that prevent you from getting from your job to your home, dealing with MTA, dealing with the overcrowdedness of the city, dealing with all sorts of roadblocks. That God forbid you've had a particularly trying day, and you come home and someone is telling you wait before you can go into your house. You can forget it. So it's really funny. We just stand back and we just watch. It's just really funny.
Well, you've had a huge Broadway career. Tituss, the character, would love to have a huge Broadway career. What did you think about them incorporating that into the role?
I mean, at first glance at the specs of the character and the script, I was delighted, if not relieved, because I knew that I would know a great deal about his world, a great deal about his own personal roadblocks and challenges that he has faced, and that one faces when trying to achieve a career in theater. But I didn't, how to articulate this? I didn't feel like, oh, got this in the bag. You know what I mean? I certainly I could certainly bring some of my own personal experience to Tituss Andromedon because of my career in theater, but he is on a different spectrum of it. I'm on this side of having been able to accomplish a great deal of wonderful roles on Broadway, and he's only dreamed about it, So I had to dial it back till like 12 years ago when I first got to New York and was working all of those odd jobs and whatnot, and remembering what that felt like, and I was, much younger than Tituss Andromedon is, so that also adds a great deal of weight and gravity to the situation. The older you get, the less optimistic you are, oftentimes, about starting a career or chasing your dreams. You sometimes feel like the coming to fruition of it all is going to be less and less.
I love that he has a nemesis in that Broadway world too, with played by James Monroe.
Martin Monroe.
from Aladdin. That's a fun relationship that you two have.
Yes, it is. And what's funny about that, James is a good pal of mine. And when he got it, I got in touch with him, and we just sort of had a good giggle because I was actually I went in for Aladdin. Of course, I thought, well, he did the out of town tryout. They're not, that would be terrible if they didn't give it to him. And he was wonderful in the show. So it's just kind of funny how it's circling the airport. But, I don't know how, I just think it's funny, so many coincidences from my real life that have shown up in the show that I've not spoken to Tina or Robert about. So it keeps getting closer and closer to home.
Another guest character that I really liked your relationship with was Dean Norris.
Well, now I didn't know he was going to be on the show until the day of the shoot. And I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan. And I have never fangirled out like that in my life. But he was so gracious and so kind, and in between takes would let me pick his brain about all things Breaking Bad. So that was a delight. And he is a great comedic actor. And that whole scene, the straight coach was it was perfect. It was just it was a perfect storm of Tituss achieving the impossible. It was great.
Well, as I mentioned, we had Ellie on last week, and she was singing your praises. What would you like to say about her?
Oh, man. Well, rare is it that you walk onto set and are able to connect with a co-star on such a level that both of you are completely at ease. You hear about lots of nightmares on set and lots of incongruencies in terms of personality traits, and this was just not the case. And she's so funny and so charming and so generous, and sans ego. And it is just like going to recess with my best girlfriend every single day that we go to work. And that is the truth. And she's just wonderful. She's wonderful. And we text all the time, and we get each other's personality. And it's just, it's nice to truly have a rapport with her outside of work that is equally as satisfying as the one I have with her when we do go to work.
One thing I wanted to do today is congratulate you. You had a Critics' Choice nomination a few weeks ago.
I did. That was,
how did you find out about that, and what does that mean to you at this first stage of this show?
I woke up from a nap, and I believe my agent had emailed me and said congratulations, and I called him and I said, on what? And he said, you have a Critics' Choice nomination. And I don't know. I had no idea. I was floored. I was like, I couldn't quite process it. Of course, I was still in a little bit of the haze of sleep. But once I came to, the excitement was indescribable. It matters what people think. It doesn't play in any way, shape, form, or fashion into how I approach my work. But if it didn't matter what people thought, then every show would be a hit, right?
That's right.
And so I just felt like I felt proud of our show. I felt proud of the work we had done. I would have liked to have seen our show be nominated for outstanding comedic, like, first time around series, but that's okay. It doesn't make it any less brilliant. And it was just lovely, and it was lovely to be in the room with all of those people who I watch and have watched for so many years. And to suddenly be in there with them, nominated alongside some of them, that was a feeling that I couldn't quite articulate. And people who I've long since admired being so gracious and coming up to me, interrupting my praise of them to tell me what they thought of our show and my performance. So it's a lovely acknowledgement, and I did not take it lightly.
Well, listen, we're an awards website, and we all do predictions and so forth. And we're doing Emmy predictions right now. Those nominations will be out in about a month. And not only do I have you getting nominated, but I've got you winning a supporting actor. Now I think let me back that up and say that category is tough, and all 6 men who were nominated last year are eligible to come back. So I think getting the nomination for you is going to be the tough part. If you get in, the type of character you play, I think they're just going to eat that up, and you're going to win.
No comment. Thank you.
So get in there. Just get the nomination, and I think that's half the battle.
All right.
If you do get nominated, you haven't had to play this game before, but you're going to have to submit one episode from this season to the Emmy judges. Do you have one in mind, that one that you really felt like was your best?
That is really difficult on many levels, because I feel like some of my best work wasn't necessarily an episode that was entirely about me. Conversely, the episode that everyone talks about is not the episode that I feel like is my most compelling work. So I don't know I don't know which one I would do. I would, of course, have to consult my bosses. I trust them implicitly. So,
yeah, I would absolutely. Tina's a queen at this Emmy thing, and she knows.
Queen.
She well knows how to submit episodes.
So I don't know how we would do that, but I gotta personally thank you for that vote of confidence. That's very, thank you so much.
Well, like I said, it's good. I mean, with those Modern Family guys and people like Tony Hale and Fred Armisen, it's going to be tough to get in, but especially a first-year show. Sometimes first-year shows don't latch on so quick with the Emmy voters. It takes them, a year or so. But
yeah,
we'll see. But that's what I'm thinking. I guess the episode you're referring to is the one where you shoot the video.
Yeah, the Pinot Noir.
That's the one I was thinking. Really, as you think about this and you talk to Tina, for a comedy performer, there's 4 things you want to have in an episode to actually win. One is comedy. You want to be really funny. You do want to have a lot of screen time. You don't want to be disappearing for big chunks of the episode.
Right.
You want to have range. It'd be nice if whatever you choose does have some of that emotional pull we talked about earlier, and not just the comedy.
Right.
And you want to have at least one like big impact scene, one scene where they finish watching the 6 episodes and they go, and that's something they really remember, and obviously on that one, that's why I was thinking that one was, once you shoot the music video itself, nobody forgets that.
Yeah, it's very true. And I appreciate those tips. And as I don't, this is a whole new world, my friend, and we are not at the Tonys. So the Tonys I understand, So I'm pulling a lot of information, and I've gotten such warm support and people rallying, and it's lovely, and it doesn't go lost on me. So I feel like how to articulate this. Part of my desire to do a good job and to have a presence at these ceremonies is as much about my career as it is about satisfying the supporters and the fans and people who want to see it continue. So I take all of that into consideration, and I will process it properly.
Well, listen, thank you so much. You're as nice and charming as I thought you would be, and good luck Enjoy your summer, but good luck on those Emmy nominations. I hope you get in.
Thank you so much. All right, goodbye.